Welcome to Member Engagement using Rotary 5 Areas of Service. My name is Corey Leparty, and I'll be your training leader today, and I'm happy to be joined by Barbara Cameron, who will be the session support leader for the session. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others, by Mahatma Gandhi. So I want you to keep that thought in the back of your mind as we go through today's session. And our hope for today is that you will come away with an understanding of Rotary's 5 areas of service and how they can relate to your club, and that you will take away some ways that your club can meet members' expectations and keep them involved. But first, let's take a look at the object of Rotary. So the object of Rotary is to encourage and foster the ideal of service as a basis of worthy expertise, and in particular to encourage and foster 4 things. So first is the idea that getting together in our weekly meetings is an opportunity for service. Now, there might be a number of things that your club does during your meeting, but the purpose behind that meeting, the purpose behind us getting together as a club is as an opportunity for service, and that is the first object of Rotary. The second object of Rotary is the idea that we should hold ourselves to high ethical standards and include in our clubs a variety of people from different backgrounds and occupations and encourage them to serve others through the work that they do. Third is the idea that we should apply this service mindset to our life outside of Rotary. So service is not something that we just do at lunch or when we get together as a club. Service is a mindset that as Rotarians we have chosen to carry with us in our daily lives. And fourth is the idea that we are all connected as Rotarians to this larger organization that is united in the ideal of international understanding, goodwill, peace, and service. There is one Rotary, and we as Rotarians are all part of that one Rotary. Now that we kind of have an idea of what the object of Rotary is, and we understand that, the object of Rotary is service. So let's take a look at why Rotarians join Rotary, why they stay in Rotary, and what Rotary means to them. And we'll look at this upcoming video from Marble Falls Rotary.
Rotary means to me a group of individuals that commonly want to give back to the community. So it's a way to, as part of a community, to give back to others that aren't as fortunate.
The Rotary Club to me is about fellowship. You meet a lot of people, friends, make a lot of friends, and it's about giving back because we do so much to give back to the community.
Well, in my club means that I get to help people in my community and I get to work with other students around me and just provide back to the less fortunate. I would say that it's a good club to join because you get to build leadership and personal integrity, and you would help the community around you and just give back even in the smallest ways.
The Rotary Club does so many things for our local community. We impact people's lives. We deal with young children all the way through the elderly and families, so we help them throughout the community in the way of food, shelter, and education.
I would find somebody in the Rotary Club that you think you can relate to, or come to a meeting and ask somebody to point somebody out that fits your personality or your financial position or job, and then just meet with them and be our guest. You can come 3, 4, 5 times, and then you can just get your questions answered one at a time and see what it's all about.
Well, as well as our local impact, you're a part of an international organization, so you're doing things right here in the Marble Falls community, but you also have an impact across the world.
So now, using that same yes or no buttons in the participant screen, let us know if these are the reasons that you joined Rotary. And then we'll look at the results of some surveying that Rotary did on why members join and stay in Rotary. Rotary did a survey, and in that survey they came up with a number of reasons why people join Rotary and why they stay in Rotary. And the number one reason that members join Rotary and stay in Rotary is to make an impact locally in their communities. Over 1/3 of the people surveyed felt this way. And if you watch that video and everybody giving a yes, it seems like that is definitely a large part of why people have joined Rotary and why they stay in Rotary is to make a difference in their community. The next reason members joined was to make friends. And even a larger percentage said they stayed in Rotary because of those friendships. A full 38%, almost 40% of people surveyed said they stayed in Rotary because of the friendships they made while they were there. Now, the third most popular reason that people joined Rotary was for networking opportunities. And though not nearly many as people list that as a reason that they stayed in Rotary, I believe largely this is because people often find that there is more to Rotary than just networking once they join and are a part of it. And the fourth reason we're going to talk about today, the fourth most popular reason people join Rotary and a larger percentage stay in Rotary is so that they can make a difference in the world. 14% they stayed because they want to make that global difference. Now that we've heard what people think about Rotary is about and seen the numbers on why people join Rotary and stay in Rotary, how do we give members what they want? Well, it's not by giving them more meetings. We all have a lot of meetings that we deal with in Rotary. And it's not necessarily by putting on any more fundraisers. We definitely put on a lot of fundraisers. It's what we're going to be talking about next. So let's look at Rotary's 5 areas of service. For those of you that aren't familiar, Rotary's 5 areas or avenues of service are club service, vocational service, community service, youth service, and international service. If we focus on those 5 avenues of service in our clubs, I think we'll find that we give members what they want out of Rotary. So let's look at club service. Club service focuses on making clubs stronger, and examples of good club service are having fun and interactive meetings, guest speakers that are entertaining and informative and not boring, and providing our members with social events with opportunities to get together on a regular basis. People really talk a lot about getting together on a regular basis for more than just having lunch, more than just having a business meeting. So when we focus on club service, we satisfy members' needs to make lifelong friendships and give new members opportunities to build their businesses. And this then covers 2 out of the 4 reasons that Rotarians join and stay in Rotary. And while it may seem difficult right now to focus on good club service, an example would be the Rotary or the Olympia Rotary Club that has continued its book club together online even though they can't meet in person. Another great example is this Rotary Club. I believe they're in the Hawaii area. It's a Rotary Club that's been having a weekly themed Zoom meetings where members are asked to come in with a themed Zoom background or even dressed up to fit the theme. And then they honor whoever they feel is the best through voting, and there's some sort of prize. So it's a way to keep members engaged and entertained. If you look right here, you will see that RI President Mark Maloney decided to jump into the meeting and take part in the Hawaiian themed night that they had a while back. So when you put on interesting Zoom meetings, you'll never know who the dignitary might be that just might show up at your meeting. Other great examples of good club service are clubs having online bingo and pub trivia nights, complete with beverages and food themes as well as prizes. Sometimes in the form of donations, like they'll make a donation to the Rotary Foundation in the winner's name, whoever wins the bingo or who wins the trivia. So it's a way to not only provide entertainment for club members, but to build those club members' personal Paul-Harrises and to find ways to give back to our Rotary Foundation at the same time. Now let's look at vocational service. Vocational service focuses on Rotarians' work and how they can contribute to the needs of society. And examples of good vocational service are when we take the time to learn about members' work that they do, when we help our young people to achieve their career goals, and when we provide opportunities for professional development to people. As you'll see, when we focus on vocational service, we satisfy members' needs to make an impact in their communities, and also their need to network and grow in their occupation. And this again covers 2 of the 4 reasons that Rotarians join and stay in Rotary. I do have a question from Chuck. Does online bingo require registration with state gambling commissions? I believe if you're not giving away a cash prize, say making a donation to the Rotary Foundation in somebody's name, you don't have to worry about state gambling commission. But I'm not a lawyer, so another financial professional might have a better answer for you on that. A great example of how we can focus on vocational service is through Rotary's partnership with Toastmasters. Not only can you attend a Toastmasters meeting to find out more about their organization, you can have a member of Toastmasters speak to your club. And Rotary has also launched some of the Toastmasters training modules on Rotary's Learning Center, where you can learn how to prepare and give a better speech. Next is community service. Community service focuses on Rotarians finding ways to improve the quality of life for other people in their communities. And examples of good community service are participating in hands-on service projects. I think we're all familiar with those. Providing needed resources to schools and other nonprofits. There's a lot of that going on at this time. And creating partnerships with other community organizations that support the community. When we focus on community service, we satisfy members' needs to make connections in the community and provide a way to members to make an impact locally. And again, this also covers 2 of the 4 reasons that Rotarians stay in Rotary. So Rotarians continue to provide great examples of community service today by helping to provide free meals and supplying needed supplies to community organizations like the 3 Rotary clubs of Gig Harbor that have all stepped up to help out when their community has been in need recently. Or like many clubs that are either sewing reusable masks or they're building face shields for medical workers on the front lines. Another great example of community service was the Rotary Club of Silverdale providing a birthday parade for a boy with special needs who just hoped someone would drive by and wish him a happy birthday. So the video about this is very moving, and we showed it on one of the other earlier presentations, and it shows that sometimes helping others in our community has a bigger effect than we might realize. Now, international service focuses on promoting peace and understanding throughout the world. And examples of good international service are participating in grant projects, improving others' lives around the world, supporting organizations like Shelter Box or Disaster Aid Canada, or partnering in friendship exchanges with countries around the world. And when we focus on international service, we satisfy a member's needs to form friendships and also to make an impact around the world. And again, this is 2 of the 4 reasons why people join and stay in Rotary. And though we can't currently travel the world to take part in projects or friendship exchanges, many Rotarians are participating in new forms of international service by visiting clubs around the world virtually. We may actually have a couple of people from around the world on this session today. I know we've had in earlier sections. And many of the clubs are excited to have speakers from other districts like ours who have unique skills and stories to share. So I say go to the link that's on there, the Add My Online Meeting, the bit.ly/Add My Online Meeting, and find other meetings where you can go and participate and see how other Rotarians around the world have their Rotary meetings and take part in service.
And Corey, at this point, I'll just tell you that there are a couple of people here from Honduras. They say hello from the Rotary Club of Rotan, Honduras, District 4250. The training sessions today have been outstanding. And this is from Cristel Caceres from Honduras. Hello from the Rotary Club of Tegucigalpa, sorry, Honduras. So yes, we definitely have an international presence.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. And I know we also have many Rotarians from other parts of the US and Canada as well. Another great way that clubs can participate in international service is by attending the International Convention. Sadly, the live in-person International Convention was canceled this year, but this year we'll have our very first virtual convention, and that will take place between June 20th and 26th. I do know that all the details for the International Convention are not available yet, but they are continuing to update online, and our district will push out any information we get as soon as we get it. I do know that there'll be some early breakout sessions, kind of like what we're doing today, and then they're going to follow that up in July and August with quite a few more. They're not going to try to put on 30 sessions at a time like we're doing here in District 5020. They're going to space them out.
And Corey, did you mention that it's free I checked that today.
I did not mention that it's free, but yes, it is absolutely free for the virtual convention. Next, a youth service focuses on empowering youth and young professionals through leadership development programs. And examples of providing good youth service are supporting local young people through Interact and Rotaract, sponsoring youth scholarships and leadership experiences, and participating in youth exchanges. So when we focus on youth service, we can make lifelong friendships with people from around the world, as well as make a difference in our communities. And we satisfy 2 of the 4 reasons that Rotarians join and stay in Rotary. I know that right now, a lot of clubs are not necessarily thinking of youth service, but May is Rotary Youth Service Month. And our youth need encouragement and support now more than ever. Most of them are not attending school. Their lives have been changed in ways that they just weren't necessarily ready for. And whether it's continuing our student recognition programs virtually, like the Rotary Club of Yelm has done here in this post, or just helping our Interact clubs to meet online, they all should be still meeting. Most of the students are taking classes online virtually. I know in a lot of areas they're providing laptops and free Wi-Fi areas. So we really should, as Rotary clubs, be encouraging our Interact clubs to continue to meet and find ways that they can find meaning and service in the times that they have available. Rotarians have an opportunity to give local youth some meaning and a sense of accomplish right now that I think they really need. We've been getting lots of questions, and so now I'd like to take some time to open things up for any questions or ideas people have. I haven't been able to keep up with the chat, but if there's anything there, we will address this now.
There was a question a few minutes ago, an open question to the group from Bill M. about how many people are attending virtual meetings online and whether it's better or worse than regular attendance. And it looks like many people have responded to him. So for example, Shelika says approximately 42 to 55% of our membership is attending. 50% of our membership is attending, from Larry McGee. Up to 60% are attending by virtual meetings, from Kathy Bisalion. Sorry if I mispronounce your names. So there is some feedback and questions about the viability of online meetings. And somebody else says, I hope that our clubs give us the opportunity to continue virtual meetings when we move forward.
I did see that Candace said they just completed blind and oral interviews for scholarships supporting 2020 high school students with their future education plans, and they did it through Zoom interviews, so that's great to hear. Kathy said that online bingo needs to be free to play, and that's absolutely correct.
Okay, Crystal, I've unmuted her. Crystal?
Hi, thank you. I have a question about the Zoom hosting that folks are doing, because we're also doing Zoom with our Rotary, but we're borrowing the login from the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm wondering whether there is a login partnership with the Rotary district, or if everybody's buying their own Zoom membership, or how is that going?
Well, a number of clubs are picking up the cost, but the district has purchased enough so that there is a license for every single area. So your assistant governor actually has access to that license and can make it available to your club, so your club doesn't have to take on the cost.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, I'd love to hear ways that people are doing service now. I know there's lots of community service projects going on.
All right, Larry is unmuted.
We're copying an idea that was out of Clark County. Rotary is selecting, we've determined which restaurants are really hurting and that are still operating in some fashion, because I'm sure all of us have restaurants that are closed altogether. And we are doing 2 things to highlight them. We're providing publicity and focusing on literally asking Rotarians and others, go to this restaurant this week. We're trying to help them with a variety of PR. And then secondly, we're buying coupons from that restaurant, and we're going to distribute those to the the poorest families with the guidance of principals, because the schools, of course, are feeding people, or to the poorest seniors. So we're doing this to try to help as many of our restaurants survive these times. It's been going on for some time in Clark County, apparently very well received.
So we have a couple of hands up, and we also have a number of responses in the chat line. So shall we start with the hands up?
Yeah, let's do the hands up.
Okay, so Shannon, are you
Hi
ready?
there. I'm with the Rotary Club of Chemainus on Vancouver Island.
Mhm.
We had to cancel our annual fundraising auction, which is our huge moneymaker for the community. So we're looking at doing an online auction with the donations that we had received to the point where we had to cancel. We also do a summer celebration where we give back to the community. We do a parade, pancake breakfast, burger and dog lunch, musical entertainment, children's activities, and a reading tent where we give away books. So we're working on a virtual celebration this year. We're working with the book idea, and what we're thinking of doing is purchasing the books and then actually taking the books around the community, putting it out on social media that the books are available. Parents or children can let us know they'd like a book. And if we see children on the street, we'll also offer them books. And then in keeping with the day, which is Saturday, June 20th, we plan to feature some of our Rotarians in their natural habitat. Our theme is Here Comes the Sun. We're hoping for bright, sunny ideas from everybody that we can put into our social media and encourage everyone to enjoy the day.
So we have Stephen Garfien.
Yes, Corey. I'm current chair of our Vocational Service Committee here in Paulsbo. We call it Professional Service, although it's not an official name. Last year, last July, we took 3 high school teachers and 2 students to a space conference in Seattle. It's the best kept secret of a conference. And this year, we are working with the AGs in the Kitsap area and the president-elects to expand that so that we give grants to high school teachers. We're not going to bring any more students, and Olympic college instructors also to go to this conference. We are establishing what we're calling a Rotary New Space Conference, our network here on Kitsap. And the idea is to bring that kind of business to the peninsula. I'm a member of the Kitsap Aerospace and Defense Alliance. I've been going to this conference for about 4 years now. This will be my 5th. So we are expanding it to energize the high school teachers and the students.
I'd love to get people to work on one focused thought. And so since we've got some time, I want to break people out into some small breakout rooms and let them talk about what, from a vocational service standpoint, we might be able to do, because a lot of our businesses in our communities are struggling. And there's probably some ways that we as Rotarians could help those businesses in the coming months as they go from where they're at to where they're trying to open back up. And maybe there's a way that Rotary can be involved to do better vocational service. Does anyone want to share what they learned in that session? Any great ideas that came out of it? Things that we hadn't already heard about?
John Aikenhausen?
Yes, thank you very much. From the Rotary Club of Paulsbo, we talked about this challenge of figuring out which businesses one might wish to support when you're surrounded with a whole lot. One of our speakers talked about a theme that had come into their club in the area of oyster harvesting, and they were supporting those businesses that were COVID challenged in the oyster area. That prompted my thought to extend it of, well, wait a minute. A bunch of businesses for any of our clubs were there for us then. Let's be there for them now. And in particular, They may not be able to support us now. Give them the same recognition in our material that we gave them last year when they were supporting us. Doesn't matter. Secondly, look to the ones who supported us to both bring in to speak to your club, because you may be looking for speakers in this virtual environment, about the history of Rotary in their business. How did they become interested in supporting Rotary, or what's the history of their business? And the other way around, where did their gift go to help the people that our club helps? And finally, as a way of determining complementary skills, we may be trying to go to a virtual environment and not have a webmaster. Are there some businesses that have that webmaster skill we can reach out to? So to my mind, that was a brilliant thing out of our little breakout session.
Thank you, John. And Larry?
Sure. A couple of neat things came up. At Port Alberni, Edwin explained that they're filling a gap in that the Salvation Army had the ability to and the wherewithal to create food. They did not have the ability to deliver it. So Rotary has stepped up and become a courier service. Rob in Victoria told us that he was aware that Vancouver Island Brewery, apparently for several organizations, has had a virtual tasting where you spend so much money, they deliver, I guess, a beer to a distribution point or to your home, and then you get on a Zoom call and they help educate you about that particular beer. They're also encouraging gift card purchases for restaurants, as Twin Cities is. And then they talked about filling in gaps where some of the homeless people were falling in cracks. Maureen had a good question, and we had a good discussion before Corey cut us off at the knees there. But we were talking about this is really tough on the elderly because they're locked into their nursing homes. They can't see family, and a lot of them probably don't have familiarity with electronics. We were just starting to talk about that, but I had read about a nursing home that had a particular nurse who was very good with a tablet or an iPad, and they somehow set it up so that between 9 and 10, the nurse was going to go to room 4, and the family and friends of that lady were going to be on a little miniature Zoom thing. And then the nurse would do all the technology. And then from 11 to 12, went to Sam's room. And so there are a few facilities that are making that happen at not much cost. I thought it was a pretty clever idea.
So perhaps Rotary clubs could sponsor the iPads or something along that line so that they could make them available to the retirement homes and care facilities so that it wasn't a burden or a cost to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're right. And maybe you'd have to take one to a home. I mean, we literally didn't get a chance to think it through, but and it's not exactly vocation, but the elderly this is a really tough time for them.
So Bill M, whoops, you had your hand up and now it's down. Bill M, did you want to?
I clicked it twice, sorry.
Okay.
We had a couple of interesting ideas, I thought anyway. One of the clubs has a distillery in their town or whatever, and they didn't mention about whether they were buying any of the other products, but they did talk about hand sanitizer. And what they do is their club buys the hand sanitizer in bulk, then repackages it into smaller containers and provide it to the food workers in the community so that they're able to keep their hands somewhat clean while they're working with the doling out food. Maybe it's at one of the food banks or whatever, but I thought that was a good way to support the distillery and what they're providing, but also to provide some kind of coverage for the food workers. Another one was one who provides food and material to the food bank also mentioned that they buy gift certificates from the restaurants and give it to the food bank so that those individuals that don't often get the opportunity to go out or order in food from an establishment would be able to at least have that happen once in a while. So there's another way to enforce that. And supporting the food bank seems to be a pretty common theme. And what was the other one? Oh, a big thing was supporting the sponsors. As I know in our Duck Dash, we're canceling it this year, but we've always got the sponsors that have already paid their money for being sponsors of the event. And one of the things we've talked about, as did some of the clubs, is that we want to continue to promote those sponsors and even provide them that sponsorship throughout the year through Facebook posts or sometime advertising within our own club members or in our PR process. So we try to give them some more advertisement than they might normally get in normal times. So I thought those were some good suggestions.
Shannon, there we go. You should be ready to speak.
The one thing I forgot to mention when I was speaking, can you hear me?
Yes.
Was when we do our Zoom meetings each week, we purchase gift certificates from businesses in town. And at the end of each meeting, we do a draw for anyone who, and we put it out on social media. So anyone who sees the draw on social media can enter. So last week we had 60 entries, and then we give away the one of the gift certificates that we purchased. So that's another way that we stay engaged with our community and also support the businesses in our community who are suffering.
Well, I'd like to end today with a quote. Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. And I think we could all use a little more grace and love these days. So thank you all for attending today's session. Please give a round of applause for Barbara for being a wonderful session support today. Couldn't have done this without you, Barbara.
Thank you.